Let's go. Let's go.
Hello and welcome. So you might have noticed that I've changed intro music to the outro music because I was asked very politely by Elaine over the weekend to change the music because it's better. So I've got it on both now, and I weren't telling anyone. It was a nice surprise, so I hope you all like it. And
I did.
Thank you. I know. So I'm going to do an introduction for Jeff, but I need to start off with he's the first guest to dance about 75% of the intro. And I am so privileged. I am so privileged that we got to see that. So thank you. I really appreciate it. Oh,
well, was it Tom? Okay, I'm sorry.
No, that's right. That's right. You can cut off as much as you want.
Tom Hanks was on Telemundo, and they had the little dancers dancing around all salsa music, and he came out and danced with the. If Tom Hanks, multiple Oscar winner, can dance in Telemundo, I can do this here.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Do you know we'll make you our intro video if you want. How about that?
Andy only danced at ABBA concerts.
And it wasn't even the real ABBA. It was obviously it's not the real ABBA because I'm not that old. But I'd had a few sherbets, put it that way. So yeah. Anyway, introduction time. So Jeff Davis. So his website is www.jeffdavisghostsky.com. So Jeff, I met in Somerset a few months back with quite a lot of other people. The guy that he was with was DJ Brewster, who should have been on here tonight, but I'll explain about that in a moment. So Jeff is part of Alaskan Killer Bigfoot.
Bigfoot.
Yes, and when I met him, I was just saying I was a little bit nervous of meeting him because I just started watching it. It's like he was like, oh, I was only watching it on the TV like 2-3 nights ago, and you know you get I say this quite a lot, but you get a preconception of someone before because like you were saying about your confidence levels whilst doing the show. And I went over and we just started having a laugh straight away. I won't tell you who was taking the mickey out of, but we was having a good laugh. That's all I'm going to tell you. And then we just clicked, and it was great. It's like with RPG, DJ, Gwendolyn, Vivian, everybody else that was there. It was amazing. It really was. So just quickly, sorry. DJ Brewster cannot be here tonight due to his work schedule, but he's had no days off for 5 weeks solid. His only day off is Saturday, which this Saturday coming. So he's going to come on. I'm going to do a live stream Saturday, same time, 8:30 UK time, 3:30 EST, 12:30 noon PST. So he's going to come on, but he's going to be on his own. And hopefully, fingers crossed, in the future, we're going to get Jeff and DJ back on together. So that's just how it works sometimes. But thank you, Jeff, for coming on. Really do appreciate it. And I've been waiting for this day for a long time. It feels like forever. So,
well, thanks. Sorry about that. Okay. Well, I am so happy to see you again, Andy, and so nice to meet you, Nicole. And I've been looking forward to this too.
Yeah, I know. It was just the schedule of getting everyone on, because we used to do Fridays and Wednesdays, and we cut the Fridays for conferences for going out, doing investigations, research, and all that. So that's why we cut back to the Wednesday. So it's like Wednesdays are like right up to the end of the year now. But when it starts getting darker early, like autumn and winter, we're going to bring a lot more Fridays back. It's not going to be every Friday, but it's going to be at least 2 a month. So hopefully we can get more guests in and bring previous guests back on. And that's it.
Done the announcements.
All done.
For now, until we think of something else.
No, I've got a question, and I don't remember whether I asked you or not. Why Bigfoot?
Me or Nicole?
For you.
You're the guest.
Yeah, I don't ask Nicole anything.
You don't ask me. I just
Yes.
Stream and doesn't tell anyone.
It's kind of one of these odd questions. When I answer it, you're gonna probably the reaction is gonna be you're kidding, because I only started doing. Oh, that's my mom walking by the way. I only started doing Bigfoot, getting. All right, so there's an umbrella of the word paranormal is at the top. Paranormal means something that is not quite normal. It's above normal. And so with non-scripted television documentaries, you've got the paranormal kind of gets subdivided into UFOs, ufology, ghosts, and then Bigfoot, cryptozoology as a whole. And so I have been doing, as far as paranormal goes, research, writing, non-scripted TV for over 20 years. I've been doing almost all ghosts, and yet when I look at my own profile, my own work and education profile, I should have been doing Bigfoot for even longer, because before I started doing paranormal research, I've got a bachelor's in anthropology, I've got a master's in archaeology, go University of Sheffield, and I worked for the U.S. Forest Service as a field archaeologist way back in the 1990s. I actually worked at Forest Service units, one of them in the Cascades, year round, January through January, for over 4 years. And I was out there in the woods doing archaeology survey a long time, but I wasn't doing Bigfoot hunting. And in that, to some people, why not? Why not? And I've got to bear in mind the social pressures. There was no conspiracy. There was no federal government conspiracy saying we'll fire you if you talk about Bigfoot. It was more along the lines of we're paying you to do archaeology work, Jeff. We're not paying you to go out there with a loudspeaker system and repeat Bigfoot cries. So it was my job, and part of the reason that DJ can't make it, Andy, you and I traded some messages. Yeah. Poor DJ is working what's called 7-11s, 7 days a week, 11 hours a day. And when you have people living in rural areas like Alaska, where once the snow flies in maybe October, everybody's snowed in. You can't work a 9-to-5 job. You have to be there for the resources when they're available, which is when the snows melt to when the snows come. Similarly, when I was working for the Forest Service, the elevation where my office was, civilized land, was 3,000 feet above sea level, or 1,000 meters. And oftentimes my survey area was up about 6,000 feet above sea level. And so when the snows hit there, I was out of a field job too. So there were some months when I was working 7-11s. And when you've done that for a month and you get a half day off, you're more likely to do your laundry and sleep than be on a podcast.
Yeah.
But so I did a lot of anthropology work. The part of anthropology is the study of humanity, and that includes ghosts, legends, myths, and working in the woods. My Forest Service team, my boss did a lot of consulting with local Native American tribes, and so we had to be up about tales of the forests. And there were a lot of anthropologists who had done work from the late 1800s through essentially World War II. So it's so funny. There I was, all educationally prepped and job experience prepped for this, but I still didn't actually do seriously cryptozoology, look into it, until about 2019, 2020. And that's when I was approached by a guy named Brian Niffel, who produced and directed Alaskan Killer Bigfoot. He had been working for many years on the TV show The Dead Files. And that's where I met him.
Yes.
Is I was in 8 episodes of that show. And he split off amicably, set up his own production company. And he said, this is my first big project, and I'm going to be out there for a couple months with these guys. Could you be prepared with research and then to join us? That's a long answer to your very short question.
No, but I like them answers. I like, yeah. I don't like no, don't know. Well, it started 10 years ago, and that's it. Because you do get people that, as you know, that just do that. You're like, and you're waiting for the next bit of the question, but the answer, but there isn't any. And that's hard work.
Well, that's how we do things, more like a conversation, like, because we'll build off of what you say rather than like a pre-written list of questions. So I like when you give us stuff to go off of.
Yeah.
Well, good. I like holding conversations too, and this is so much more fun, and I think flows better having our conversation than podcasting was pre-COVID.
Yes. Yeah.
Because it was a script.
Hanging out.
Yeah.
So thank you, audience.
Right.
We have a good group of this.
Yes. Yeah. Right. We've got a question for you. So this is from Nickname, who you also met at the conference. So I'm going to give a real name. It's tough if she moans about it. So this is Nicola Phillips that was with me when we came over to you. So this is her question for you. Hi, Jeff. Welcome to the show. Touching on your background in the Forest Service, did you come across any missing person cases? If so, any correlation to any out of the usual? Many thanks.
Wow. It's almost like I was feeding you questions. Probably, I'll separate this from day-to-day people out recreating. People out recreating in the. We had my Forest Service district was in the Cascade Mountains. We didn't have rapids, but we had some waterfalls, and there were kayakers. And people talk about Force 1 rapids, Force 2, Force 3. We had a waterfall that I think was like 20 feet high, like a drop of 20 feet. And there were a couple of occasions where enthusiasts who had less common sense than they did money to buy a kayak decided to try and do one of these. I'm going to take my kayak all the way down. And I think one or two occasions they and their kayak got separated. So, trying to track people downstream. That normal recreators who have trouble, I separate out from. There's some genuine weirdies. Jumping around, my mind's going this way. Just recently, this year, there were a couple of Bigfoot hunters, guys who said we were going Bigfoot hunting, who went onto my old district. This is the Wind River district in Skamania County, Stevenson, Washington. For some people, it is kind of Bigfoot Central, and they got lost. They didn't come out of the woods, and the weather got them. Probably hypothermia. So, and that happens occasionally too, just to ordinary hikers. But to get back to the genuine weird thing that happened this is in the 1990s, some years ago, and these people contacted my district, and my boss handled this administrative wise, but it had to do with in the late 1930s or early 1940s, during the Great Depression, the federal government had created the Civilian Conservation Corps, and they went and put up trails and campsites and all kinds of public works in the national forest system and in the national grasslands too. And they had fire watch stations, little platforms up at the top of mountains from the distance to make sure there were no forest fires. And so the trails joined these fire watch stations, and there was a young man, I think it was 16 or 17, who was on his like weekend off or something, and he ended up, I haven't even finished yet.
I did think that. I thought I'm just going to throw it up anyway.
Is this like the music at the Oscars? Like they're playing you off? Like,
Yeah.
okay, thanks.
But here's where hopefully this will turn into mystery, is that he was taking this trail and he stopped at one of the fire watch stations, or one of the fire lookouts, and said, I'm gonna take this trail, which is really well defined, and go over the side of the ridge to this next spot where my friends are gonna pick me up, and he never arrived.
Oh.
That happens occasionally. Now, this happened 60 some years before his sister, who was now a senior citizen, said, we've always wondered what happened to my brother. And she contacted a psychic, or the psychic contacted her, and they drew a map. The psychic drew a map of where he went, and that he died along the way, along this route. And she had various places on this map that included trails, that included kind of portrayals of ridge lines, as well as streams and these flats. And she said, this is where he went, this is where he died. And somebody as pragmatic as my boss at first looked at it and said, yeah, I'll go ahead and check. Yeah. And didn't really believe in psychic phenomena. But he then started comparing the drawing where the fire watch station was to the actual topographic maps, and said, this is pretty close. Now, 60 some years later, about the only thing that would have been left of this poor young man would have maybe been the leather boots. And so I ended up having some survey in that area, so I got to go look. So the boss handled the admin. I had to get to go out into the woods.
Oh.
And I didn't find anything.
Nothing.
But you asked about kind of a weird experience, and so that was one of the weird ones.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I can do this now. Sorry.
There we go.
Thanks, Jeff, for the informative answer. Lol, Andy, it was for after.
Let him be in control of the buttons. He's worse than I am.
Yeah. It's been a long day. A long day.
I have a question for you, because I do the ghost side of things. Do you feel like there's a connection between like the ghost and spirit side of things and the Bigfoot side of things?
There is, media-wise, there is now. And so the thing about Alaskan Killer Bigfoot, which it's regrettable we did not get renewed, because as I said used this phrase before, the show still has legs. I mean, Andy's seen it and he's intrigued by it. And what came out of the show in the first season was many of the episodes, well, let's bring Ron Moorhead here, and here's his theory about what Bigfoot is. Let's bring the demonologists here with their take on it. And so we had various interpretations, some of which considering this was like 2021, now you have currently filmed shows. These are some of their theories. Among other things, you have the traditional theory Bigfoot is some kind of a primate. But the Native American ethnographies, and ethnography is when you have somebody from a different culture going to a second culture and asking them about their worldview. So the Native American ethnographies say, yes, it is an animal, part of the animal kingdom, but it has properties, it has abilities that are above an ordinary human being's. Magical powers, if you will, or physical powers, the ability to change their voices to such a level that it hypnotizes people. And that's how they approach unwary people, as they hypnotize them. And in other anthropology, in Europe, have you ever heard of a dryad?
Yes.
Right, which is a dryad is you have, because of animism, that is, all objects have some form of life, rocks, trees. In animism, a dryad is an externalization of the spirit of a tree. It's able to take on human form. And so that's another theory that kind of gets explored is, are they extra dimensional beings, or are they spirits of the trees, or both, or something in between? So we explored all of those in the different episodes of the show.
Yeah. So what sorry, go on.
No, well, and this was new 4 or 5 years ago. Really think back to cryptozoology shows. It was all about what kind of critter is Bigfoot, what kind of hominid or hominoid is Bigfoot, what kind of animal is it. Now it's expanded out to what kind of being is it, and is it even earthly?
Yeah. No, I was just going to say, Sweet Morbid Bear has put it in the chat. So dryads can look like shadow people too, especially at night. So I've not seen them in the woods, but I know people that have, and they see these shadow people, and they're going in and out the trees. So could that be another? That's what, a different energy version of what Bigfoot is.
I think it's possible, and here is the nature of this. Cryptozoology is a branch of biology. Biology being a scientific discipline, these are things that should be explored and questioned, and get some answers to. We go from theory to testing the theory. So I'm glad there's discussion about it. Again, taking it away from it's just an animal to maybe it's not. But now we start trying to find evidence one way or the other. And there in the UK, it's not likely to be Bigfoot, but you have all kinds of other critters, is the anthropological term, that can be looked for, investigated, especially those big cats.
Yes. Yeah.
Or in Northumbria, pigs.
Oh, the wild boars.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, not only that, there's because I love English heritage. I love English myths and everything. I mean, going to the University of Sheffield, in my home library on the paranormal, my UK section is 2 shelves, and in regional folklore, where for some reason there was, I have one booklet about ghosts and spirits from Northumbria, and the author themselves talk about all these spiritual feral pigs. But in Somerset too, there's a myth of a ghostly sow and her piglets that travel back and forth along one of these old public ways, and people have seen them, which is not necessarily cryptozoological as much as spiritual.
I didn't know about that.
So,
that's new to me.
Yeah, that was just a brief mention, I think, in Hipley Coxingley's book Haunted Britain, but he got that from somewhere else.
Right.
If I were at my house, I'd pull the book off the shelf and show it to you.
So all these Bigfoot, all the Alaskan Bigfoot, the Florida skunk ape, the ones in Oregon, do you think they're all related, or do you think they're all completely separate?
Related. And do you think about Bigfoot specifically in the Cascade Mountains? I think that so much habitat has been lost that historic records from the mid 1800s talk about some kind of Bigfoot, Sasquatch critters, even along the Columbia River. And if they're solitary beings, or they live in small communities, they don't like humans, they've retreated, and to the point where it may well be they're not anywhere near, say, the road network ends. They're nowhere near, say, 3 hours walking from any of the roads. But in order to have genetic diversity, they're probably all related by genetic diversity, speciation, and not inbreeding and not dying out from inbreeding. Consider across the width of North America, from New England states to California, I had heard that you could take seagulls from the East Coast and they would be able to physically mate with seagulls from the West Coast. They're still more or less one species. They have species fertility. And that's because of the genetic mixing all the way across the continent, certain distances. So if Bigfoot is one species, they have to be related. And I think that they would be. The population of Bigfoot across North America not being great. So they need to have that diversity. Otherwise, they would have died out long before. This kind of a mixed mishy way I phrase that, but I hope everybody kind of catches my meaning.
Yeah, definitely.
Close enough.
Yeah.
Listen to the ones that if I get it wrong.
It's fine. Question. Wood knocks. What do you think the wood knocking is for? Do you think that's for a communication, or do you think it's something to do with the tree or the type of tree, or using Bigfoot Dwarf, who's in the chat, he's been on and we spoke about this. I spoke about it to a couple of other people. Are they trying to find the frequency of the tree to see if that tree can be used as some sort of vehicle for them?
Right. Going to approaching this from the anthropological end, from the ethnographies in the Pacific Northwest. According to the ethnographies, the diversity among Bigfoot, in that there were big Bigfoot.
Yeah.
The 7, 8, 9 footers, but also there was a variation in that Bigfoot also had smaller critter Bigfoots, and their character, their very nature, were very different. That the larger Bigfoot seemed to be very pastoral, very peaceful, unless bothered, whereas these smaller ones, I want to use the word skikiak, which I cannot pronounce it correctly, but the smaller ones were maybe about the size of a modern human or even smaller, and they were a malevolent breed of Bigfoot, and so they were often the ones who would be kidnapping people, and a lot of them were armed with sticks, clubs, and they were the knockers. So they were the ones who would be knocking on the trees. And there's a lot of the anthropologists, when they're talking to native people, one of the primary reasons that they were knocking on the trees was to actually knock them over, because their sticks were imbued with magical powers. So when you hear a tree fall in the woods, does it make a noise? Bringing that further, is it from some kind of activity, outside activity, or is it falling on its own? And so if a tree falls for mysterious reasons, you're standing next to it, it falls and kills you or a relative, maybe that was the evil Bigfoot doing that. Yeah. So that is one explanation that comes directly from the native people. Another one, though, is that, they're make territorial markers. If you hear the sound of this, you're in my territory. So that is another theory on that. And if you're knocking on like snags, dead trees, that's actually really good. Think about woodpeckers. Woodpeckers are not just knocking on the tree to access what's inside. They're knocking on the tree, and they get the reverb that tells them whether or not it's rotted and hollow, and whether or not, if they actually continue, they're going to get some insects. Yeah. If please don't do this at home or in your home area, but if you take a baseball bat and knock against a dead tree versus a live tree, you're going to get a different sound. Yeah. You can tell.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah. So, right, jump into trees. I don't know. I don't know if it's to do with Bigfoot, but I'm gonna ask it anyway. You see these, because obviously with you being out in the forest and what have you. You know when you see these trees moving that look like they're walking across? I don't believe they're walking, but is that machinery? Is that something pulling it away? Is it a CGI, AI, or is it something sort of supernatural?
Are you talking about it's like dark, maybe a little twilightish, and you see the trees going like that? Or are you
No,
seeing the
but
trees actually?
no,
No, when they go like this.
they're actually physically going from point A to point B.
Can we find a video, Andy?
I can try.
These are okay. You're in the middle of
Phenomenon
Earth.
of palm trees in Ecuador that appear to move slowly across the forest floor.
Right, I'm going to see if I can get this video. I know it's a little bit out there, but it's just... No.
Sorry.
So I
That's
think
okay.
that one that I was looking at, you can't see one side of the tree, so I think someone's pulling it. So but these ones are full, like, I suppose they're not saplings. I don't know, you call it an adult tree, and you can see it moving, but there's no machinery around it, and it's in the distance. And then they'll go over and look at it, and there'll be a big, like, scratch in the ground from where it's moved. I don't know.
Interesting, but this does remind me of something for people who are doing nighttime Bigfoot hunting, or because your audience is also in the UK. If you're out looking for any kind of crypto critter or wild critter in the woods, there's a whole physio-psychological phenomenon where they actually warned us of in the Army. When I was in the Army, is when you are out at night, our eyes have rods and cones in them that one of them allows us to see in color, but it needs a lot of light coming in to see and portray the color to our brain, and the other part of our eyes sees in black and white, takes less energy. And so you ever notice when you get up in the middle of the night and you're looking around, everything's gray? That's because your eyes are only using part of their structure to see with. So in the Army, we were having to stay awake all night in war games and things, so that because that's the best time to attack for the enemy is at night. And so if you're out at night staring fixedly in one area or at one tree or a clump of trees, your eyes are already compromised in their ability to find detail, because our color vision is what gives us detail. Everything in gray is also fuzzy, so that if you are staring fixedly with your eyes not working at 100%, your eyes are going to get tired, and it's going to seem like stuff is moving.
Right.
Simply because your eyes are tired and they're wandering. So be aware of that. And this is especially bad as light starts increasing, like in morning twilight or evening twilight, because the rods and cones are going in and out as far as which one your brain is using. And so that's even more mistakes at early evening nautical twilight and base moon nautical twilight. Is that twilight period where you can't tell the difference between a human being in a tree at 100 yards. So when you're out there trees will move, clumps of bushes will move.
Yeah.
The harder you stare, the more likely they are to move on you. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, thank you for that.
Yeah,
Yes.
with hand gestures too.
Yes.
Yes.
Very important.
Even better. Even better. So how did you get teamed up with DJ?
Well, this
If you
is
don't mind me
this
asking.
is no. This is I'm flying in false colors. The guys were out there looking for Nantinak in Portlock, and so I had done this background research, and I was in contact with Brian Niffel and the team, and sending some information to them as things went on. But at times through them being there, I flew to Homer, Alaska. I never went out to Portlock. Please don't think I did. So I flew to Homer, and they came to me. And so on two separate occasions, I met up first with Ash and Keith. And I talked to both of them to give them the basic information. I gave them the original English American explorer Nathaniel Portlock, Alaska. His journals were published in the late 1700s, so I gave them excerpts of that, and we talked about the background. And it was on a separate occasion that Ash was off doing something else, and Keith came back to Homer, and we sat and talked for a couple more hours there. So I don't want anyone to think I was right there in Portlock. I was sitting at the campfire with them. No, I wasn't. But of course, once the show aired, then I got to know them, and I was also there for when they finished filming and everybody came back to Homer to try and integrate back to their normal lives. I was there, and I was invited to what's called the wrap party, so that they're finishing filming, and so I took part in that, and that's where I met all of the guys en masse. But that's why if you watch the show, I jokingly tell people I am there focused in 2 episodes, and in another 5 episodes, I'm a flashback. Don't go in the woods. But after production ended, and post-production was a couple of months before they started airing episodes, and this is in the midst of COVID, we knew the show had developed an audience. And so, like anything else, you want to get renewed for 2 seasons, 3 or 4, and there's the call, just like now. Let's do some podcasts with people. Let's do interviews. Yeah. And so I volunteered. They didn't have much of a budget, so I volunteered to try and coordinate with the guys, the cast versus crew, with the cast members, and to try and just. If I said I was the agent, that would be way too much. I didn't do that, but I just kind of sat being a nexus point to talk to podcasters like Vivian Powell and get back with all the guys individually to do these interviews. And I was lucky enough that people actually said, well, you were in the episode, so yeah, you can join them. But I got to know DJ there because these guys really are Alaskan Native people, and Keith and some of the others, they had not been very far from Portlock for most of their lives. I don't know that Keith had ever left Alaska. Now, they're not primitives. Don't think I'm saying that. They knew technology, electricity, but they were not expecting to be famous. They were not expecting to be doing podcasts. And so I tried helping kind of smooth the way for that. And DJ is a world traveler. Yeah. Been there to England, been to Stonehenge now.
Yes.
But he's worked across the United States in various functions. And so I remember we were chatting, and I said, DJ, one of the things, because just like for me, where I am in Washington State, his connectivity, his internet connectivity, pretty limited where he was at the time. So he was going and getting permission to use his boss's office at their building and use their internet. And I said, a little bit of worry about, you're asking to use the office and the internet, it's not quite professional. What are we getting out of it? And I said, why don't you get a coffee cup with your company name on it and put it prominently in front of the camera?
Advertising.
Yeah. And so he did. He even pointed out, see, I got my camera with my job on it.
Yeah, there you go. That's it. You're done.
Yeah, free advertising.
Yeah, what more could you want?
Yeah, well, and anybody watching video podcasts, particularly for like a news channel, they will have bookshelves behind them with their latest book open, so that you can read the cover in the back to let people know.
Yeah. Right. I've got another question for you. So not just when you was out filming, but when you was out Bigfooting, did you ever come across any other paranormal activity other than Bigfoot itself?
No. When I was doing Forest Service, there were eerie moments. I could not pull out one for you right now, but I remember the phenomena of being in the office. Like it's winter time. I was working year round. I was doing pre-field research, so I was. They would say, we're going to cut the trees down in this area. You need to figure out how you're going to get there, and you need to go through the records and see if prehistorically we know there was anything there, or was there a Forest Service work camp, and so on. And so I worked in the office, and then finally my boss would say, like, look out, say, oh, I think the roads are clear, get out. And so I would get in a Forest Service truck and drive out there. And the first 2 weeks, field duty was always bizarre, because I would drive to the roads ended, and then I would land navigate maybe an hour walking to get to where I needed to survey. And so it really is no trails, no humans, no nothing for hours at a time. Wow. And especially if I've been in the office for all that time, around people, around settings, then all of a sudden there's nothing, and out of the corner of your eye, everything alerts. Yeah. You're like hyper focused. And I remember the bizarrest thing was the squirrels chasing each other around and playing, because they'd never seen a human before, so they weren't afraid. But it still kind of freaks you out when the animals start howling and screaming, and then, just like in a movie, the crickets stop cricketing.
Yeah.
What about the cicadas? Andy is obsessed with cicadas.
Oh my God.
It's too cold for cicadas. Sorry.
No cicadas there.
No. The sound that they make, that was just one. It's just, yeah.
See, what they're really saying is they're advertising, come and eat me.
Yeah, they don't look very appetizing though, do they?
No. Crickets eater. Although I did try to get Andy to eat some crickets when he was over here. They had, those little crickets in like a candy bar.
I'm good. No.
That's the new semi-vegan diet.
No thanks.
I'd just rather not ever eat again, to be honest with you. But
crickets are Irish pub though, Andy.
Yeah.
Well, not intentionally.
No, it's good.
One of the talking about weird food, I am serious. I love old weird kind of food stuffs and legends and everything like that. Bog butter and bog cheese there in the UK, where some I think the oldest. So somebody makes cheese, and they've consolidated the cheese together over a period of a week, and then they weave a wicker basket, and they take this cheese that may weigh 50 pounds, and they put it in the wicker basket. They go to the peat bog, they dig it out and then they bury the
Yes.
cheese or the butter,
Yeah.
and they forget where it was. I think the oldest bog cheese I ever heard about was 500 AD. I would love to try some of that after somebody does some microbiology and tells me I'm not going to die.
Yeah. You're
It's
not
probably
just gonna.
But
You're not just gonna cut into it and take a bite, are you?
I've heard that they drink really old wine too, like really old wine.
Yeah, here in the United States, and I'm going to get the dates wrong, so forgive me, but shortly after the American Revolution, when we showed them Brits, right, in the
Yeah, we did.
there was, I think it was in Philadelphia, in this one building, there was kind of an intellectual political society, and they had their own wine room, and they had laid down some sherry or port wine, and it was still in the 5-gallon tumblers, and they sealed the room, and so that wine had been sealed up for over 150 years, and then they found the room, and a lot of it was still good.
Oh,
that's crazy.
And there was in the 1990s, when I went to uni at Sheffield, so we were getting ready to leave, there was one of those little shorts on the BBC where this one family, this small family estate where the patriarch of the family had died before he was old enough, so they had the death duties on the estate, and they were looking for anything to sell, and they had what they thought were boxes of like fire starter punks in the basement below the kitchen, and it turned out that they were cigars, and they had been laid down in the 1859, and and the humidity and temperature was so perfect, these cigars were still good, and they were like 1,000 pound a cigar, some ungodly amount of money, and that was how they were paying off the estate tax, was by selling these 150-year-old cigars.
Jesus,
isn't it amazing?
Crazy.
I know. That's just to come across something like that, and then you could sell it for whatever you wanted.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Because what do you
so long
as really nothing else comparable.
So long as you put a big sticker on it that says, "If this poisons you, it's not my fault."
Yeah.
Right.
Disclaimer.
You sign a waiver.
Yeah. Oh, all you got to write is for entertainment purposes only. If you want to smoke it, that's up to you.
Well, in the year, I want to say 2005, I was on a canning craze, and so I canned a whole bunch of beef, and I still have the jars, and I'm afraid to open them, but I'm not going to throw them away.
I made peach butter and strawberry butter, and I was a little concerned. I'm like, how long are these going to be good for? But they're good for a while. I mean, I haven't tried years, but
get hazmat suit and just do it at arm's length with the gauntlets on. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
Famous last words.
Well, they're still in the jars, and they have not started bulging. So maybe we'll do a podcast where we'll open them and I'll eat them on air.
Yes. But no, I've had a better idea. The next time you go Bigfooting, why don't you take a couple of the cans out and leave them for the Bigfoot and see what happens? Hopefully the Bigfoot won't die. But
well, if it does, Ryan Golombesky's going to kill me. But then I will have proof. I will have the body.
There is that. Yeah. But then Ryan will have two bodies. So
and no place to put them both.
Yeah. That's a bit of a downside for you, really, isn't it?
See, you put him in a gorilla costume and be like, oh, nope, that was the Bigfoot. So you get to keep the real Bigfoot body and the government doesn't take it away.
That reminds me of the movie Trading Places, where the bad guy, they put in the gorilla suit and ship him to Africa with a real gorilla.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I have taken
Yep.
us in this direction, haven't I?
it's fine. These
You never know
are
where
the
it's
good
gonna go.
ones. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So,
So-
that didn't really answer your question, though, did it?
I
It's
don't
fine.
remember
What
what the
was your
question
question?
was at this point.
The question was, let's talk about food and what could kill. How
Right.
much food,
Side note.
Jeff?
Side
How
note.
much food Jeff has at home that could potentially kill you?
I don't know. It might kill me, but the pizza place next to me started having a baked potato pizza,
Wow.
and it is the craziest thing I've ever heard of. But apparently, it's really good.
Oh,
Yeah. How
nice.
about a peanut butter chicken curry pizza?
No.
No.
Not with peanut
No.
butter. Chicken
Not
curry
peanut
pizza.
butter.
Okay.
I remember in the 1990s in Sheffield, a pizza place opened up. This was like the first pizza place in Sheffield, and my English friends were all like kind of poking at it. And
Yeah.
I made sweet cornbread one time and homemade chili, and they were also like, "What's this? This is maize." And like, yeah, you put butter on it, honey butter. And I like had a whole big pan of cornbread to myself.
So,
Nice.
oh, it's gone. Oh my god, no. Oh yeah. So you're saying about Sheffield, right? So if you, I'm just gonna offend everyone in Sheffield now.
Go for it.
If you used to go and buy a pizza in Sheffield now, you would do exactly the same thing. You'd be poking and prodding it, making sure it was
Okay.
edible.
Well, just make sure
Yeah.
you have a pint of lager with it, and after a while, you won't care.
Yeah, you have a few of them before. It's like that round here. There's a couple of places where you don't go and get food until you've had too much to drink because you know it's not going to be good.
You know,
Right.
it
Sean,
was
bringing it back.
Yeah.
Bringing it back to Bigfoot.
this one. I don't know. I mean, it's a great question to ask. You have to go by analogy. How much food would sustain a Bigfoot? And the part of analogy by that I mean is you look at how much basketball players eat, 7 foot tall people, but also look at how much a gorilla eats, how much a chimpanzee eats, how much a pongo, which is orangutan eats. Now, something to be aware of is even though all four of us come from same root background, ancient critter, our dentition, our teeth say we're omnivores, humans. We've got cutting teeth, we got grinding teeth, and chimpanzees do too, and gorillas do. But it's my understanding that gorillas subsist mostly as vegetarians, even though they got the equipment to eat more. So it oftentimes takes if you're gonna get a wheelbarrow full of fodder for a gorilla, you need more. One, because males weigh 400 or 500 pounds, and there's a lot of calories. And these calories coming from vegetables, you need more of them than say you've got a mixed omnivore meat vegetable diet. So I'm not answering your question because it's a great question, but I'm not even going to attempt it. A lot. Gorillas forage for hours. Most of their day is slowly foraging. Here's the other thing: humans are the critters who want to go out and kill, catch, skin, or process right then and there as soon as they can. Maybe enough for lunch and dinner at the same time. And the average hunter gatherers, the Kung in the Kalahari, they're living on the edge of a desert, and yet the anthropologists followed them around and found that this going out, hunting, catching, killing, processing was only about 40 hours a week of their time.
Oh.
Consider you get up in the morning, you make your breakfast, you go to work, you come home. How many hours of the day is that? And then you have to cook your dinner. We
Yeah.
spend a lot more time doing that than in the wild.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hmm.
It is. That is an
So it makes you
interesting
want to go out
answer.
and forage, doesn't it?
Not really.
Yeah. I'm gonna quit work and just go and steal food.
But along that same lines, like, what kind of population of Bigfoot do you think is needed to sustain their species? Like, do you think that there's a lot of them, or do you think that they just live a long time?
Well, it's length of how long their lifespan is. Again, there are some things, and I may disappoint you that I'm not going to stick my neck out for some of these as answers. I'll speculate, but that is the number of hours that they would have to go out and forage and the distance they would travel. Again, look at modern populations, and it doesn't even have to be primates. I have deer that eat my apple trees, my apples, my roses, and so on, and they have a round. They have a subsistence round where they will eat stuff and travel as they're eating stuff, and then they'll come back when the rose bushes regrow, when the grass regrows, when the leaves shoot out. And so living natural, usually the body mass, the larger the critter, the more food they need, the greater their territory. They do this slow movement around. And so they may have a circle. Human beings, hunter-gatherer types, have these circles that are hundreds of miles long. If you happen to be a pastoralist, you happen to have sheep, goats, or whatever, great distances get traveled as you're looking for everything that's right. So I would speculate. Again, this gets back to I habitat loss for Bigfoot in the Cascade Mountains. They're solitary. They need a large territory. And again, knocking. This is my territory. So it may well be that they are not even Bigfoot to Bigfoot families. The distance between them could be quite large.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. But I've got a question. And I know we've asked this so many people, and you've probably been asked it every day since 1990 or even before. Why
I was born.
Why do we never find a Bigfoot that's died or been injured? I'm not saying it doesn't happen. There's going to be agencies out there that see him and pick him up before any of the general public get to him. I get that. I understand that. But why is it never been documented?
Here is where an absolute skeptic, this is a spectrum, an absolute skeptic would say because they don't exist.
Yeah.
Now take it, start dialing it to they're everywhere, or they're extra dimensional beings, and that's what happens to them. They dissolve when they die. Grover Krantz, the anthropologist, Washington State University, talked about that, and he tried addressing it. And so apex predator, they're at the top of the pyramid in the woods. They need a large area to subsist in. They live in small families. That all leads to there aren't very many. And because there aren't very many, and they're living in the woods, that when one dies, it doesn't take long for the environment to recycle that. And he brings up bear. Grover Krantz believed that this whole pyramid, it takes 10,000. This is not from Grover Krantz, but I'm trying this analogy. It takes 10,000 mice to feed one cougar, right? Or 10,000 mice to feed a coyote, and 100 coyotes to feed a cougar. So you got a pyramid of apex at the top. And so he viewed bear as being the number of bear in the environment as being less than the number of Bigfoot. And so that your mathematical odds of finding the skeletal remains of a Bigfoot are even less than finding a dead bear. And so in my work experience in the Cascades, in the entire time that I was working there between various ranger districts, the equivalent of, say, 7 or 8 years, I only found one dead bear.
Wow. I've not even seen a live one, so it doesn't matter.
You heard one, though.
I think you heard one, yeah. Yeah, but it's like, but this is the thing. So it's like you said, it's like, I'm going to use badgers in the UK. I've only ever seen 5 that have been alive running up the road, and every single one has been at night. Obviously, they're nocturnal animals, but I'll see at least 3 or 4 every single day that are roadkill. And I know people that have only ever seen dead ones; they've never seen live ones. So I understand that analogy of why it's like it is, but it just seems, if they are about, and you've got people like yourself that are going out researching them, looking for them, why is no one ever coming across one? Are they doing something? I know you've already answered, but it's that annoying question that you're probably never going to get the answer to.
It strains your credulity. and that's okay. I mean, this is my speculative answer. And the fact that you disagree with me and other people disagree with me very strongly, it's okay with me. I'm not offended because I don't have a dog in that fight. You answered the question. You asked the question. I answer as best as I can, and I'm open to reinterpretations. When I was talking to RPG, I was talking to Ryan Golombetsky, we talked about this, approaching this as a scientist ideally should. And here is something that I repeat many times, and I'm not afraid to repeat it here, is the scientific method in its essence. If you want to clothe yourself in a white lab coat and have people respect you, right? The scientific method, and some people disagree on the little small technical ends, but you start off with a theory. That's your thesis. I believe Bigfoot exists. Then you test the theory. It's a circle. And when you're testing the theory, you don't just look for evidence that Bigfoot exists. You look for evidence that it doesn't.
Yes.
You interview other people. You look at their physical evidence for Bigfoot. They have a piece of scat, which is poop. Yeah. And you send it for analysis and you find out, no, that's dog, right? So you're looking for evidence contrary to that. So you do the experiment, you collate your evidence, you reform the theory, the thesis statement, and you test it again. Yeah. That's how the scientific method should work. Now, ideally, 20 years later, because I've been doing this for so long, I had the best evidence I had at the time, and 25 years later, I get it wrong. Or I got it wrong, but that's only with new evidence. Ideally, we should be allowed to come on this kind of a venue and say, here's what I thought 25 years ago. I have changed my mind because of new evidence.
Yeah.
One, nobody wants to admit they've ever been wrong. And 2, sometimes because this is like video, fan base won't let them, or they lose respect because they were wrong. So audiences themselves should hopefully, ideally, allow that change, but it doesn't happen.
They should, because if you're coming on and going, what I said, blah blah blah, however many years ago, I was wrong, and you've got enough structure to back up why you're wrong and why you think you're now right, then let it go, because it should then be, the audience should be, do you know what? They've come on, they've said they're wrong, they've said why they're wrong. Let's think about it this way then.
And so people actually have more respect and trust on you because you've admitted that you were mistaken.
Yeah, exactly.
100%.
Yeah. And
that's why when I'm talking about ghosts and stuff, I'm always like, in theory, or like supposedly this is, because we don't know. And it's fine to admit that you don't know.
Yeah. If we had all the answers, it wouldn't be paranormal. It'd be normal.
Exactly.
Does that bring us to the
Electricity.
question, Andy?
Not yet. You're not doing the question yet. We've got other questions before that.
All right.
Oh, the ambush awaits. Okay.
There we go.
Hey.
There you go. That's from Mr. Nicole.
Well,
Yay.
you know what? My ex-wife. Never mind. No. All right. Now that I've said that, she is a good person. It's just my comedic timing sucks. She never thought I was funny either.
I don't think he's funny either.
Sean's
Ooh.
funny. Sean is funny. Don't tell him I said that though. He'll get a big head. Right. We've got a couple more questions. Oh, and they're both from Sean. Here we go. So first one. So with all the people that go missing in the woods every year, what's the likelihood that a Bigfoot maybe eats someone once?
Sure, why not? Like I said, the theory is that Bigfoot shares a common ancestor with us who was an omnivore. They could eat meat or they could eat vegetables. So when I say sure, why not? Sure, why not? And it's also ironic that humans, as the apex predator on this planet, if nothing else, we wiped out our other cousin human relations. Our ancestors were not carnivores, they were omnivores. And also there's a lot of evidence that they got a lot of calories by scavenging. But here we are.
Yeah. Well, I suppose as well, it's survival of the fittest. If the food is scarce, like in wintertime where there's not much crops or vegetation growing, and they find somebody that is now no longer breathing, why not have a bite and see what it tastes like?
Yeah. Well, I had one of the interviews that I participated in with Kyle, the bear guard and wilderness guide, and he talked about the nature of bears.
Yeah.
And so got black bear, Ursus americanus, and brown bear or grizzly bear, which I don't remember the species name. And then you've got polar bear. And he said, black bear want nothing to do with us. We're about their size. And it's all weight. If just like bullying, if you meet somebody who's much bigger than you, you're a little less likely to attack. But grizzly bears, they generally don't want to have anything to do with us either. Polar bear will actively look at us as a food source.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Polar bears are mean.
And massive. And I think they grow to like 11 foot on the hind legs, the average size of the polar bear. Yeah. Yeah, and they don't mess about.
But around Christmas time, they're all drinking Coca-Cola in fellowship with each other. At least
that's what right.
I'm floating around on icebergs around near Lapland.
Yeah. Yeah. I where I live this year, there's a young bear that has been scavenging my neighbor's garbage cans. And so I see him or her occasionally, and I still don't want to tangle with it.
No.
I know my place in that apex predator's world.
Yes. Yep. Totally get that.
Mm-hmm.
Next question from Mr. Nicole. Is it possible that they hibernate? It would certainly lessen the chances of us seeing them.
Well, that's true. I'm only halfway flippant when I say, sure, why not? Let's experiment with that. Are there any primates that hibernate or have this low calorie status throughout the year? I don't know. We have to actually start looking at populations up in the Japanese islands. Are they macaques? They have, there is snow up in Hokkaido where these critters live. So let's look at them and see whether or not they're capable of that. We know a lot of very small mammals hibernate, and some
Yes.
birds too. And so let's look into that.
Well, I remember reading years ago that humans technically should hibernate, but we've adapted and moved away from that. But we still have that as part of our genetics.
I would like to
So
sleep all winter.
because it's like, I know you say you put more weight on in winter because that's your body storing fat for you to hibernate. It's the scientific reason behind it, and that's the only science that I actually know or that I claim to know. But that's a true fact.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's white fat and brown fat, and white fat is that kind of insulating layer, whereas brown fat usually surrounds blood vessels, which keeps the body warm that way.
Yeah.
And there's where my body fat data ends too.
But if you put that into perspective, then if humans were obviously natural hibernators, and say Bigfoot is a branch off the human hybrid, then surely they'll have that as part of their DNA as well.
Absolutely, which also reminds me that despite what I was saying, or not despite, along with what I was saying about in hunter-gatherer societies, how many hours they spend gathering subsistence, the downside of pastoralism, which is herd animals, and hunting and gathering is, despite how efficient you are at gaining calories, natural disasters exist. And so these folk, by natural selection, are fitted out that to survive famine, short-term famine. And that is oftentimes they have very efficient systems, and or in periods of low calories, things like brain activity slows down a little bit because that burns calories. Well, these calorie burning activities slow down. And I'm thinking about a documentary I saw some years ago where they were looking at, in particular, American Southwest Native American communities where obesity was a problem, and they found that there were one or two people who were perpetually skinny and they were always eating. They were ectomorphs. They needed constant calories, but by and large, their relatives were overweight to obese, and their calorie count was very low, but that was because their bodies were expecting this periodic famine. And so what do you do when your body expects a famine and it comes on all these calories? What it does is it packs on that insulating layer.
Yes. Yeah. So that'd make a lot of sense then, wouldn't it? About if they was to hibernate, not just that we wouldn't see them, but the connection of why we should hibernate, but now don't. Sorry, me back to it.
And these animals, when they hibernate, it is not going to sleep for 4 months and then not waking up at all. Bears wake up.
Yeah.
And so they're torporous, I guess would be the word. And they move around and may gather food. Was it mama bears, like polar bears, they give birth during that period of hibernation.
Yeah, but it's like squirrels in the UK, they hibernate, so they go gathering the nuts, but you still see them, they'll still come out to get more food during the colder months.
Oh, it's like not a full hibernation, right?
Yeah, so a lot of people think that when they hibernate, they sleep solid for that 3-4 months or however long it is. But a lot of them now, kind of like you say, they come back out. They try. I suppose it's like they stay in the comfort of their own home. They don't have to leave. They've got everything that they need in there. They've got the food. They've got the warmth. They've got water. But I know some do full hibernation, like the smaller rodents, like hamsters. It's the only one that I can think of. A lot of the time, people think they're dead, and they're not. They're just hibernating.
Yeah, a lot of smaller birds
Yes.
will completely hibernate. Yeah, so it's a little more difficult to answer as a speculative question.
Yeah.
Please don't think that I'm a Bigfoot biologist. I'm not. One, we still don't have a Bigfoot to study 24/7 for weeks at a time. This is all
No.
speculation and an analogy from what we know of other primates, including ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah. No, thank you for that. Right. Shall we ask the question?
The question, yes.
Shall I ask the question?
You are going to try. Okay,
No.
but you have to ask it without trying to sway him.
Sway.
Ask it and then leave it.
Right. So the question that we ask all the guests is, if you got the opportunity to know everything there was to know about the paranormal, including Bigfoot, so I'm going to go down the Bigfoot path. So you knew everything about Bigfoot, why it was here, whether it was part human, whether it was an animal, whether it is interdimensional. You knew everything about Bigfoot and the paranormal and what all the connections were, like with the UFOs and shadow people, spirits, goblins, the whole shebang. Would you want to know?
Well, the answer to this is actually quite simple. And there we have it. Just kidding.
You know what? You got me there for a tiny moment. I realised what you were doing.
You know, I'm not going to answer it with this yes and a no because I don't think that's possible because I think there's always going to be something to know.
Yeah.
There's always going to be more knowledge base coming in. Just like I was talking about, 20 years more is going to come in. I would like to know those things that are factoids that Bigfoot is either an animal or it's a spiritual being. I'd like to know those kind of differences up front, but there's not an end to it. There's always going to be people asking different questions, and if Bigfoot does exist, then the next generation of big feet are going to be a little bit different too. So this is more along the lines of if I knew everything, I wouldn't quit because there's always going to be more to learn.
Yeah. See, I like that. They're the answers that I like. See, Nicole is, yes, I want to know everything.
Everything.
But
all
I
of it.
like...
Okay.
I like the guessing and the speculating. I like getting it wrong and then thinking completely different to the previous reason why I thought it was such a thing that was wrong. And it's that, the chasing, the trying to work out what it is. But for you to be told, not in a cheating way, but if you was to acquire that knowledge for whatever reason, whatever way, I don't think I'd want to know. I like the not knowing, the enigma of it all, and but
yeah,
that's just my opinion.
I think it may boil down to the challenge. You enjoy the challenge. And if the challenge goes away, what are you going to do with your life?
Not me. I want all the information all at once, explode my brain. I don't care. I just need to know. I need the facts.
But then you're not going to do this. You're not going to go do the paranormal investigation, because you're going to go in there and go, yeah, I know what that is. That's not a spirit of a dead person. That's a energy that's come from blah blah blah. And you're just going to ruin it.
You know what lions and tigers and bears are. You know what a bear is. You still want to see a bear, don't you?
Yeah.
No.
I want to see if you can outrun it. No, I don't.
Not when it's
the same concept.
No one's trying to eat my cat.
No.
The bear scared my cat to the point where she didn't eat for the next day. So she saw him, and anyway,
wow.
I'm sorry. But Nicole, did you ever see the 1970s movie Legend of Hell House with Clive Revill, Gail Honeycutt, and Roddy McDowell?
I have not.
It is on my top 3 list of best paranormal movies of all time. They did it, one, with good acting because it's an English movie, and a moderate level of special effects. But throughout the movie, the question is, what is it? What I want the facts. What do ghosts exist? Is there life after death? So I feel that pull with you. But even if I was absolutely certain that there is life after death or there is Bigfoot, I would always, was it the answer? The questions never changed, but the answers do.
Mhm.
And so maybe one time we'll all get together and talk about our favorite movies about the subject, because I think a lot of people are interested in that too. But if you have a chance, watch that movie, because they bring in a trance medium, they bring in a physical medium, and they bring in a scientist with gizmos, and it's a byplay between them and their personalities as well as their approaches. I won't tell you how it ends.
No.
I'd have to watch it.
If I said everybody dies, would you still watch it?
Yeah.
Okay, but everybody doesn't die. But
Oh.
There you go. Now she won't watch it.
But
You
like, I'm
ruined
the
it.
kind of person, I could read the last page of a book and still want to read the rest of the book to see how we got there.
Mhm.
Yeah, I
me
get
too.
that. Yeah, definitely.
I got a C- in my American literature class because I openly disagreed with my professor, who said what makes all great fiction great is conflict, and I disagreed and said for me it's characterization. Huckleberry Finn,
Love that.
I
Absolutely.
love that too, and it's all his anthropologist. Like because Huckleberry Finn, in traveling down the mighty Mississippi, meets people from different backgrounds, from aristocrats to grifters, and they are all portrayed realistically, as if Mark Twain knew them personally, which he probably did. So, which is sideways again to the question about Bigfoot, but the Bigfoot researchers are more interesting than Bigfoot.
Yeah.
There's
Yes.
a lot of larger than life people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely. Because they're going out and they're doing, like you said, they're going out and doing the research and they're coming back with evidence. Maybe the evidence isn't a direct link to Bigfoot. It could be something completely different. But they're still going out and they're coming back with items and the footprints and the casts and hair samples. And yes, it gets sent away and sometimes it comes back and it's not, it comes back from like a coyote or a bear or whatever. But it's still that anticipation of waiting and wanting to know what is it from.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it.
Yeah, and it's the personality, the presentation. Again, RPG, in talking to him, and you remember him as our host.
Yeah.
Like, that guy has so much energy. And
I know.
He could read a cookbook and we would be spellbound.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, but like, even if you know what Bigfoot is, right? It doesn't mean that you are ever going to see a Bigfoot in your life, that you could ever capture any evidence to prove to other people that there's a Bigfoot. So there's still always that challenge, even if you know everything, even if you know for a fact that in your heart that Bigfoot exists.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, the truth is out there. Trust no one. Yeah.
Yeah, we do know it exists.
No, we know something exists.
We know there's something there. We don't know why, and that's what we want to. Yeah, why we don't know the why, where, who, when, and what. That's the bit we don't know.
Yeah,
and that's what we're trying to find out. So,
agreed.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, Jeff, what do you have coming up? Fighting.
Well, I currently do a podcast myself. This is an audio podcast, and I'm on as you all know, it's sometimes it's just about the network.
Mhm.
And so locally, local radio station, there's a Monday through Friday, there's a show on AM called Ground Zero with Clyde Lewis. And he's kind of like the Art Bell of the Pacific Northwest. He's in maybe as many as 90 AM radio stations across the United States. And so he's created a podcast network. And so I've been a guest on his show a couple times, and I get along with Clyde and great and his team. And so I've been a guest on his radio program. And just a couple months ago, they said, "Hey, Jeff, would you like to start your podcast again? And we'll host you." So I'm on Ground Zero Plus. And the way this is work, I put out a weekly podcast. And if you go to groundzeroplus.com, this is West Coast time. Sunday is my new podcast that drops then. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 4 to 5 p.m. I kind of run it as reruns. It airs new on Sunday. Monday, it'll repeat. Wednesday is the previous week's broadcast, and so on. So I'm doing that, having a lot of fun with that. And I do local events in the Vancouver, Washington area. I have a ghost walk in downtown Vancouver, Washington.
Yes.
And I do military history talks. As a matter of fact, I had the last night, yesterday, I was on the local news because somebody was digging in their garden and they found a 12-pound cannonball in their garden. And because I really am a military historian, the local news had me on talking about cannonballs, exploding cannonballs, and so on. So I do a variety of things. Upcoming, there will be there are ghost conferences I attend. I'm not sure what's happening next in the UK. I'm debating next year on holiday, maybe going up to the Orkney Isles. And there are a whole bunch of links between Stonehenge and the people living on the Orkney Isles 3,000 years ago. Yes. And it turns out a couple of my school chums live up in the Orkneys. See, archaeologists are antisocial too. Or I'm going to Switzerland. I'm not sure which.
Awesome.
UK. Yeah, because isn't it? I know it's just come about now that one of the main stones is it the altar stone of
the altar stone
comes from northern Stonehenge, comes from right in the furthest point of Scotland.
Yes,
and how did they get it there? It's like 700, 800 miles or whatever it is.
Yeah, not only that, some years ago, they were doing the archaeology at Stonehenge, and they came across a pit where people had butchered and cooked meat and pigs. And based on the element analysis, they are figuring those pigs came from either northern Scotland or the Orkneys. So how do you get not just a big rock, but a whole bunch of live pigs that far south?
Yeah. That's kind of crazy.
Frequencies, sound.
Yeah, Randall Carlson, you've been listening to him.
Saying nothing. I'm saying nothing. So just before we go, we have gone over the time. So this is from Daryl Stanley, and he wants to know, I have a quick question. Would you want to see a Bigfoot in the wild or in a cage?
In the wild, of course. If the only way I want to see one in a cage is if I was unexpectedly brought face to face with it.
Yeah.
Because any wild animal, you surprise them. People get attacked by black bear because the black bear is surprised and threatened. It doesn't go hunting for us. Remember, about the only thing it does is a polar bear. So only for my own safety. And maybe when I leave the room, they let it out of the cage.
I think that's going to be the standard answer. Well, they're very intelligent. If
you know, about 20 miles away.
Yeah. Yeah, from a distance, but make sure that I get it in high 8, the video, no doubt.
Just don't shake your camera.
Yeah. Don't find a zipper.
Yes.
That was the Patterson film when they first tried digitizing it about 20 years ago. They said, "Oh, we got a zipper."
Yeah. And then nothing was ever said about it ever again, pretty much.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Right. Well, massive thank you for coming on.
Great to meet you.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you. A lot of fun.
Yes.
And when you do come over to the UK, we need to go Bigfoot investigating. I don't like the word hunting. It doesn't sound right.
Yeah. It's like ghost hunting, Bigfoot hunting. I'm not hunting them.
Yeah. No, I'm just seeing if I can see one. So, yeah.
Well, we'll see. I regret I was not able to go out with you all Wednesday to your little woodsy thing. I didn't realize what was going on, but my friend Beth was not doing well, so we didn't go out. But had I known, I would have offered to try and do a flint knapping demonstration, because remember DJ made a shelter and was looking at plants with y'all.
I didn't go to it. I was back in work, but I've seen the videos and the photos of it. Yeah, I couldn't get the time off, so couldn't do it.
Yeah. I would have tried getting my flint knapping equipment, which includes bones and antlers, through customs. It's one of those. Had I only known, I would have made that video too.
I know, unfortunately, but here we are. So maybe next time, definitely next time. And I will get my stun gun from America and back through Dustin's as well.
And if you ever get out to New York, we'll go. We can go squatching here.
Absolutely. I've also wanted to visit. Are you in New York City or upper state?
No, I'm up upstate. We're in the Hudson Valley. Wherever you consider upstate changes based on where you are. Sure.
I'm sorry if I'm asking location information that you don't generally give out. I used to do the month of October. I used to go to colleges mostly on the East Coast and do ghost hunting demos and things like that. So I was up at SUNY and Hunter College once. So I was kind of up in New York State, mostly around the Adirondacks and things like that. Beautiful country in October.
You're very.
Well, if either of you make it to Washington State, let me know in advance and we'll set something up.
Cool.
Yes. I've still got my visa. I've just got to book a flight. So it's all good.
Nicole, I can do ghost hunting too.
Yes.
There you go. Started.
I've never been squatching because nobody will bring me.
Really?
Yeah. Shout out Al Santoriga, bring me squatching.
Too much of a liability. That's what I reckon.
They're like, no, this one's got a big mouth. She's gonna scare off the Bigfoot.
Saying nothing. Maybe they've seen you line dancing. I don't know.
We don't talk about that.
Yeah, we'll tell you about that later.
Yeah.
Right.
We get to the achy breaky heart.
I think it was something like that, wasn't it? Outside the hotel.
I don't remember.
I don't know.
I really don't remember.
Too far gone.
Is that why you didn't make fun of my chair dancing to your theme music?
I would not.
Probably. Right, we are going to have to wrap this up. So massive thank you again, Jeff.
My
Definitely
pleasure.
Get you back on, whether it's with DJ or on your own or with anybody else. That's inevitable either way. So 100% we'll get that sorted and get it all up and running. So thank you. Thanks again. Thank you, Nicole. Thank you to Og and Nickname, Gerald and Jane for doing the moderating. Thank you, everyone else in the chat. Thank you to everyone who's downloading on Podcast Player and Audible. We are going to bring Fridays back as we get into the colder months. It's not going to be every Friday. It's going to be like a couple of Fridays each month. Might start off with one and just see how it goes, because we're both going to be busy going out doing stuff. This weekend, if you haven't already got your ticket, you can come and see me talk, believe it or not, and pay for it, at Wincham Hall, just outside Crewe, near Nantwich. There's a ghost hunt on the Friday night, and then we're doing the talk on the Saturday. So that's all going ahead as normal. Just got to finish work early on Friday and drive up there then. That's it. So there's going to be Andy McGrath's going to be there, Jason Kenzie, the She Squatchers, Jack O'Lantern. There's a load of different speakers. I can't remember them all off the top of my head. So, yeah, we've got that to do this weekend. So, no more plugging. We're going to go. So thank you again. And we'll see you. Oh, I'm going to be back on Saturday at 8:30 with DJ Brewster. Nicole's out doing an investigation. But if there is anyone who would like to co-host with me, you are, depending on who you are more than welcome to come on and co-host.
You just open that up to everybody.
No, and then I just put it right back because
it's okay. We've had every co-host on here anyway. They never stay.
If anyone wants to jump on with me, you can do. Not anyone in particular.
Just send Andy a message.
Anyone except the following people. Get out the big list.
Yeah, I've got a list. The list for not is bigger than the list for can.
I'll see. If it rains, then I'm not investigating because it's a cave.
Oh, it's outside.
It's outside, but it's a cave and you can't do anything because of all the dripping.
Right.
Oh, Jesus.
Whoop.
Do you know what?
Was Sean on your no list?
No, Sean's on my... He's on my A list.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
All
Sean
right,
can
we'll
come
talk about
on.
it after the show.
Yeah. Right. We're going to go. So thanks again, everybody. Thank you, Jeff. Absolutely amazing. I knew it would be anyway, so that's it. So
thanks.
see you on Saturday, 8:30, and yeah, that's it. So I don't think I've got anything else. I'm gonna go before I keep overthinking everything. Right. See you guys later. Take care and have a wonderful time. And you'll see me whenever it is a pop up next. Right.
All right. Bye. Bye, everybody.
All done. Bye bye.
Goodbye.